The Declaration of Independence states that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the foundation of America. It was built upon equality and unalienable rights. Unfortunately, this did not apply to black people. Thomas Jefferson, the one who wrote these words, himself owned slaves, and many of the founding fathers owned and supported slavery. It was clear that when they said all men are created equal, that black people were not considered. Matter of fact, black people weren't even viewed as full human beings. At one point, we did get an upgrade from not a human to three-fifths of a human, but even then, that wasn't even because they recognized our humanity. It was merely a political play. Since population affected the number of representatives you had in the House, in order to up the population count, they started to count slaves. Still not as a whole human being, though. So, slavery started in America around 1619, and slavery was abolished in the U.S. in 1863. But did that mean that black people were now free and equal citizens in the United States? No, it didn't. We still had to deal with things like segregation, Jim Crow, and a bunch of other forms of discrimination. It took another 100 years in the 1960s for the Civil Rights Act to be ratified that finally began to grant black people the rights and equality that Jefferson spoke about 200 years prior. And I haven't even begun to scratch the surface of the inequalities and injustices suffered by black people in America. So when we say Black Lives Matter, it's because we have a long history in America where black lives truly didn't matter. And all we're trying to say is we want to be treated fairly, humanely, and with equality and justice. And just to be clear, there seems to be an implicit fourth word that's added to Black Lives Matter that completely changes the meaning of the phrase. Some people seem to implicitly add the word only, as if the phrase was only Black Lives Matter, to which the rebuttal then is no, all lives matter. But that is not what was meant by the phrase. The implicit fourth word that's added that adequately reflects the meaning of the phrase is to, as in Black Lives Matter too. So yes, all lives matter and all men are created equal, and even the Pledge of Allegiance ends with liberty and justice for all. And what black people have been fighting for years is simply to be included in that all. The next sentence that our pal Jefferson says in Declaration of Independence is that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. So it is well within our rights as black people and just as citizens of the United States in general to ask more of the ones who are in power, who are enforcing the law, who are governing us. It is well within our rights to demand for a change when the current government and current systems in place doesn't seem to be working for us or on our behalf. But if there is one thing that Jefferson got right, it was that we are all created equal in the sight of God, regardless of race, regardless of class, regardless of gender, regardless of any other label you want to throw out there. With God, there is no partiality. So maybe we should start treating people and viewing people the way our Creator does, with no partiality or prejudice, but with equality, justice, grace, respect, dignity, and humanity. Is that too much to ask for? And as always, think on these things.